Solving equations with variables on both sides. To solve equations with variables on both sides, we need to move the like terms to one side of the equation. We will move the constants to the other side of the equation. Remember that like terms have the same variable raised to the same power. And we will use our properties of equality to solve the equations. What we do to one side, we do to the other. And in order to move the like terms from one side to the other, we need to use inverse operations. In our first example, here's where the line down the equal sign will be very helpful. I need to get my like terms on one side, and my like terms are 8x right here and 4x right here. I could move either of those. However, 8x is already alone, and 4x has this minus 2 with it. Therefore, I'm going to take this whole thing, I'm not splitting it apart, I'm taking the whole thing and I'm going to move it over here. In order to do that, I need to use the inverse operation. And right now, it's a positive 4x. So the opposite would be a negative 4x. I need to do the same thing to both sides. I can't just remove it from one side. I have to do it to both sides. That cancels out, and I have 8x minus 4x is 4x when I combine my like terms. What's very important on the other side is that I don't forget about this minus sign. It now is a negative sign. Now I have my like terms together. I have my constants all by themselves. I can split apart my like term and I can divide each side by 4. Cancels out the number. X will be equal to negative 1/2. Over on the other side, the other example, I have like terms, my 7x and my 8x, but I also have two constants, 5 and 4. I need to get all of that together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my 8x to the left-hand side, and I look in front and my 8x is positive. So to move it, it needs to be negative 8x or minus 8x. I will do the same thing on the other side, and I'm going to be sure to line up my like terms. My x's will match up. That does cancel out, and I have 7x minus 8x, which leaves me with a negative 1x. The plus 5 drops down because I didn't do anything with my constants yet, and my minus 4 becomes negative 4. I need to keep this on that left side, which means I need to get rid of the plus 5. The inverse is minus 5. I now have negative 1x is equal to same sign, keep the sign and add them together. And I'm going to now break apart my negative 1 times x. I will divide both sides by negative 1. Cancel out the negative, cancel out the number. X is equal to, cancel out the negatives, 9. Why don't you try this next example, this one right here, why don't you try this one on your own? Hopefully you got x is equal to -2 as I did. Last example. I will start it for you and then you should finish it on your own and then come back and check to see if you got it correct. Because I have parentheses here, I want to multiply that 7 by everything inside. 7 times 4x is 28x. So I have 28x plus 14. Now from here, try to solve the problem just like you did the last one. Hopefully you got -8.